supposed to do using an old law that was enacted in 1998.
Siku mbili tu zilizopita tukaenda bungeni, tuliraukia kule asubuhi. Tukapewa ahadi kwamba hakuna chombo chochote cha habari au mwanahabari yoyote ambaye atazuiwa kwenda bungeni. 2 days later, ahadi ambayo walikuwa wameitoa kwetu sisi kama viongozi katika sekta ya wanahabari imetibuka. Leo asubuhi tulikutana na viongozi kutoka idara ya usalama humo nchini. Bado ikawa ni ahadi tu, tutafanya, tutatenga, tutatenda. Hadi lini? Tunataka kuona vitendo. Muda wa kuzungumza umepitwa na wakati. Tunataka kuona vitendo. Huwezi kutueleza kwamba utahakikishia wanahabari usalama wao, nitahakikisha kwamba hakuna yeyote atatishwa. Tunataka kuona kile ambacho unakifanya hata kabla tuketi katika mazungumzo. Na si kwamba tunasema mazungumzo ni kitu kibaya. Tunayapokea mazungumzo kwa moyo mkunjufu. Lakini tupate kufanya haya mazungumzo kukiwa na mwelekeo thabiti. Kwamba mlikuja kwetu mkatueleza mwanahabari wetu amejeruhiwa, tumechukua hatua, afisa aliyehusika amechukuliwa hatua, yule mkuu wa kile kituo cha polisi ambako Macharia Gaitho alitekwa nyara amechukuliwa hatua. Si kutueleza mtasema, mtatenda, mtafanya. Hadi lini? Mwanahabari wetu ambaye amepata majeraha ya risasi amekuwa hospitalini. Afisa aliyehusika alionekana kwenye kamera. Bado ni tutafanya, tutasema. Hadi lini? Nitatumia mfano wa hali ambayo tunaipitia sasa hivi kama wanahabari, nijitumie mimi kama mfano. Tangu wiki iliyopita nimekuwa kwamba siwezi kupokea hata simu.
Right. Meanwhile, the Anglican Church of Kenya, led by its Archbishop Jackson Elisapit, has called on the government to address the ongoing national crisis within a week. Speaking to the press, Bishop Elisapit has also urged the youth to suspend the nationwide protests, saying the government has started implementing some of the issues raised by the youth.
Whereas we appreciate the agencies and commend their cause, we nevertheless appeal to them to give the government time and a chance to implement the changes that are demanded. Please desist from actions that will jeopardize the very future that we are all fighting for. The government must come up in the next 1 week with an implementation matrix of these demands and make it available for public scrutiny and monitoring. There is much talk about creating employment for the youth. Let this be backed by a genuine action. We ask the President to lead his government to develop and implement a action plan to address what we are calling the 5E youth agenda, which are employment, enterprise, education, empowerment, and engagement.
Just a reminder, in case you're just joining us, we're going to be having live pictures in status. We're just following up on President William Ruto is expected to address the nation. As you can see on your screens, our very own Elizabeth Mutuku is there. When President William Ruto starts talking, we'll be crossing there live, so stick around for that. Meanwhile, Makueni Governor Mutula Kilonzo Jr. has called on Azimio leader Raila Odinga and his ODM party to respect Kalonzo Musyoka. Speaking in Mboni, Makueni County, Mutula criticized Odinga following Thursday's incident where youths ejected Kalonzo and other leaders. During a press briefing, Mutula termed the act as a great betrayal to Kalonzo, asserting that the Ukambani region will support Kalonzo's presidential bid in 2027.
Extremely unfortunate. ODM must treat Kalonzo Musyoka with respect. Na si tafadhali. Hata ndoa watu akwani unilazima. Hakuna we. We will not accept disrespect from ODM. Sisi tumewapatia nafasi 3. Sasa mnatuonyesha madharau. Nyinyi mna mawe, kwani sisi hatujui mambo mengine? Tuko na nyuki, tunatumia nyuki.
Let me take you to Mombasa County now. A section of youth are now supporting the president and part of the Azimio Leadership Initiative to have a national dialogue to address issues affecting the country. They have also urged the president to follow the guidelines stipulated in the constitution while appointing cabinet secretaries based on merit and competency. Additionally, the youth have been called upon to follow the Public Order Act while organizing demonstrations which have affected most women and children who can't access medical services and schools during demonstrations, as most roads have ended up being closed.
Kila mtu ana haki ya kushiriki, na pia ilikuwa tuna ile timu ya NADCO, kuna mapendekezo waliyapeana. Nadhani Raila what he's pushing for ni kwamba ni implementation ya ile report ya NADCO. Wanaopinga wao wenyewe wanajua wanapinga kwa sababu gani. Kuhusiana na baraza la mawaziri, mimi naona kriteria kubwa kwanza ni competence ya mtu. Apply meritocracy. Sasa mambo sijui ya negotiations, nani sisi tunaleta watu kama hawa.
Right, from Mombasa now to State House in Nairobi, I told you President William Ruto is going to be addressing the nation. Let's listen in.
Conversation, providing an opportunity to reflect deeply on the relationship between fundamental rights and democratic freedoms, our collective aspirations for prosperity and efforts to secure opportunities for all, and the imperative to advance national sovereignty and the security of the state. Measures to affirm our commitment to actualizing the people's aspirations, assure citizens that the state exists to serve them efficiently and with integrity, and to signal to all that our national values and principles of governance are the foundation of our national dispensation. The issues that have come to the fore requiring expeditious attention as matters of urgent priority include an accelerated program to significantly increase our food production and agricultural sector development, in addition to the interventions that we already have, so as to reduce the cost of living and enhance food security in our country. And together with it, to provide requisite raw materials for our agro, our value addition, our manufacturing, and our industrialization agenda. The need to expand existing job creation opportunities and programs, and to create new interventions to address unemployment in order to absorb thousands of unemployed young people and provide them with gainful employment opportunities. The necessity of a public conversation on innovative, prudent, transparent, and accountable use of public resources, along with people-friendly mechanisms for domestic resource mobilization and reducing public expenditure in a manner to make sure that we live within our means. Number 4, the imperative of addressing the significant challenge of public debt by establishing and implementing very clear mechanisms to reduce public borrowing and insulate the country from risks associated with debt accumulation, including prudent financial management to avoid debt distress. The importance of constituting a more inclusive government that unlocks the potential of citizens from all sectors to drive our national transformation and our unity. I gave the nation my undertaking to reflect at length on these issues that have been brought into sharp focus by the people of Kenya. I also promised to consult widely on the way forward, and I also promised to craft a broad-based government that would harness the enormous potential in our country to turbocharge our economic transformation and to provide for inclusive growth. While the events of the past 1 month have caused tremendous anxiety, concern, and uncertainty, the crisis has presented us with a greater opportunity as a nation to craft a broad-based and inclusive citizen coalition for national transformation and progress, made up of all Kenyans from all walks of life. It cannot be denied that our nation has been in a crisis caused by multiple and complex factors. Neither can we turn away from recognizing that the opportunity before us is greater than the crisis. Together, we have a chance to take our country where we all want it to be and make our nation, the Kenya we want, a great nation. For these reasons, I have consulted extensively on one, the need to enhance, broaden, and deepen the national economic turnaround plan set out in the bottom-up economic transformation agenda to incorporate a wider range of ideas, programs, and interventions that will facilitate job creation, robust debt management, enhanced transparency and accountability in the use of public resources, and enhance domestic resource mobilization and optimize public expenditure in a manner that gives all of us a chance to live within our means. Consequently, I have started the process of forming a new broad-based cabinet to assist in driving the urgently needed and irreversible transformation of our country. I nominate the following first batch of 11 individuals for consideration and approval by the National Assembly for appointment as Cabinet Secretaries and Attorney General. Ministry of Interior and National Administration, Professor Kithure Kindiki. Ministry of Health, Dr. Deborah Mulongo Baraza. Ministry of Lands, Public Works, Housing. Ministry of Education, Julius Migosi Ogamba. Ministry of Defense, Aden Bare Duale. Ministry of Agriculture and Livestock Development, Dr. Andrew Mwihia Karanja. Ministry of Environment, Climate Change and Forestry, Roslinda Soipan Tuya. Ministry of Water, Sanitation and Irrigation, Eric Muridhi Muga. Ministry of Roads and Transport, Davis Chircher. Ministry of Information, Communication and Digital Economy, Dr. Margaret Nyambura Ndungu. Attorney General, Rebecca Miano. I am continuing to undertake consultations across the political divide on the balance of cabinet that I will appoint shortly. The consultations are at an advanced stage, and internal processes in various sectors are underway to facilitate my appointment of the balance of this cabinet. Additionally, I will be issuing next week a clear roadmap on the assignment that the new cabinet is going to have, with clear timelines and deliverables for us to harness the tremendous potential that exists in our nation and drive our country to greatness. Thank you very much, and God bless you.
Right, and the State House doors shut. The three gentlemen walk in: President William Ruto, Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua, and Prime Cabinet Secretary, as well as the Cabinet Secretary of Foreign Affairs, Musalia Mudavadi. A moment that Kenyans have been waiting for. 11 appointed Cabinet Secretaries. He calls it the first batch. I've written them down. I'll be telling you, in case you're just joining us, who these people are. Some of them have maintained their positions. These are names that analysts have been pointing out. Some of them are new faces and are new names that we're going to be also telling you who they are. Others have been reshuffled to other cabinets. Plus, as well as the Attorney General, Rebecca Miano, who was also in that particular cabinet. We'll also be having analysts just helping us understand what this means for the country. The President also says that as of next week, there's going to be a clear roadmap of his cabinet. There's going to be some clear timelines of this particular cabinet. So we're going to also be seeing how this will be shaping up. Remember, President William Ruto dismissed his cabinet last week on Thursday after weeks, about 3 weeks, of young protesters going to the streets and demanding that this particular cabinet has to be dismissed, the entire of it. Two major reasons, really: poor performance as well as corruption allegations. And the president heeded to this particular call, dismissed the entire cabinet, leaving out secretary to the cabinet, as well as Prime Cabinet Secretary and Cabinet Secretary of Foreign Affairs, Musalia Mudavadi. And it has been one particular week that the president has had quite a headache, really trying to draft these names to see. Our grounds, we do have Elizabeth Mutuku. She's right there. We'll be trying to get her live on air just to see what her sentiments are, and even different parts of the country, what Kenyans really have to say on this. Remember, on Monday, or rather now, last week on Thursday, President William Ruto had said that there's going to be a multi-sectoral kind of forum for 6 days, beginning this Monday. So it was supposed to begin on Monday, but then it didn't materialize for particular reasons, really. The young people are saying we are not for this particular dialogue. The Azimio camp actually had a whole crack in it, with ODM seemingly, ODM Chief Raila Odinga seemingly for this particular dialogue, having this whole multi-sectoral forum, but then other parties inside Azimio, the PNU, Jubilee, NAC, and others not for this particular dialogue. So we're to see how that will also be shaping up. What this particular leaders in Azimio will also be saying on this. We're to see also how about the other 11, because remember the Constitution provides that not fewer than 14. So we do have right now 11 and not more than 22 CSs. So we're to see how that will also be shaping up on the same. This is just receiving live pictures moments ago, in case you're just joining us. Right now, President William Ruto has appointed 11 names in his cabinet. He had dismissed them last week on Thursday. So it has been a week since that happened. Just to read you these particular names, first off, maintained in the cabinet in the Interior Ministry, Professor Kithure Kindiki. In the health docket, Deborah Mulunge Baraza. Education, Julius. Defense, Eden Duale. And agriculture, Dr. Andrew Karanja. We'll be taking a look at some of these names as we continue. But then if you just missed this, let's listen in to what President Ruto had said moments ago.
During this time, the country has engaged in a difficult public conversation, providing an opportunity to reflect deeply on the relationship between fundamental rights and democratic freedoms, our collective aspirations for prosperity and efforts to secure opportunities for all, and the imperative to advance national sovereignty and the security of the state. In this discourse, the people of Kenya have expressed their views on governance, development, economic management, national finances, and many other aspects of our nationhood. It is of utmost importance that the government takes measures to affirm our commitment to actualizing the people's aspirations, assure citizens that the state exists to serve them efficiently and with integrity, and to signal to all that our national values and principles of governance are the foundation of our national dispensation. The issues that have come to the fore requiring expeditious attention as matters of urgent priority include an accelerated program to significantly increase our food production and agricultural sector development, in addition to the interventions that we already have, so as to reduce the cost of living and enhance food security in our country. And together with it, to provide requisite raw materials for our agro, our value addition, our manufacturing, and our industrialization agenda. The need to expand existing job creation opportunities and programs, and to create new interventions to address unemployment in order to absorb thousands of unemployed young people and provide them with gainful employment opportunities. The necessity of a public conversation on innovative, prudent, transparent, and accountable use of public resources, along with people-friendly mechanisms for domestic resource mobilization and reducing public expenditure in a manner to make sure that we live within our means. Number 4, the imperative of addressing the significant challenge of public debt by establishing and implementing very clear mechanisms to reduce public borrowing and insulate the country from risks associated with debt accumulation, including prudent financial management to avoid debt distress. The importance of constituting a more inclusive government that unlocks the potential of citizens from all sectors to drive our national transformation and our unity. I gave the nation my undertaking to reflect at length on these issues that have been brought into sharp focus by the people of Kenya. I also promised to consult widely on the way forward, and I also promised to craft a broad-based government that would harness the enormous potential in our country to turbocharge our economic transformation and to provide for inclusive growth. While the events of the past 1 month have caused tremendous anxiety, concern, and uncertainty, the crisis has presented us with a greater opportunity as a nation to craft a broad-based and inclusive citizen coalition for national transformation and progress, made up of all Kenyans from all walks of life. It cannot be denied that our nation has been in a crisis caused by multiple and complex factors. Neither can we turn away from recognizing that the opportunity before us is greater than the crisis. Together, we have a chance to take our country where we all want it to be and make our nation, the Kenya we want, a great nation. For these reasons, I have consulted extensively on one, the need to enhance, broaden, and deepen the national economic turnaround plan set out in the bottom-up economic transformation agenda to incorporate a wider range of ideas, programs, and interventions that will facilitate job creation, robust debt management, enhanced transparency and accountability in the use of public resources, and enhance domestic resource mobilization and optimize public expenditure in a manner that gives all of us a chance to live within our means. Consequently, I have started the process of forming a new broad-based cabinet to assist in driving the urgently needed and irreversible transformation of our country. I nominate the following first batch of 11 individuals for consideration and approval by the National Assembly for appointment as Cabinet Secretaries and Attorney General. Ministry of Interior and National Administration, Professor Kithure Kindiki. Ministry of Health, Dr. Deborah Mulongo Baraza. Ministry of Lands, Public Works, Housing, and Urban Development, Alice Wahome. Ministry of Education, Julius Migosi Ogamba. Ministry of Defense, Aden Bare Duale. Ministry of Agriculture and Livestock Development, Dr. Andrew Mwihia Karanja. Ministry of Environment, Climate Change and Forestry, Roslinda Soipan Tuya. Ministry of Water, Sanitation and Irrigation, Eric Muridhi Muga. Ministry of Roads and Transport, Davis Chircher. Ministry of Information, Communication and Digital Economy, Dr. Margaret Nyambura Ndungu. Attorney General, Rebecca Miano. I am continuing to undertake consultations across the political divide on the balance of cabinet that I will appoint shortly. The consultations are at an advanced stage, and internal processes in various sectors are underway to facilitate my appointment of the balance of this cabinet. Additionally, I will be issuing next week a clear roadmap on the assignment that the new cabinet is going to have, with clear timelines and deliverables for us to harness the tremendous potential that exists in our nation and drive our country to greatness. Thank you very much, and God bless you.
This is just moments ago when President William Ruto quelled the tension that was in the country. People were really waiting for this after he dismissed his entire cabinet, including Attorney General. Now the former, now we do have the appointed Attorney General, that is Rebecca Miano, but this is just not really final. These names will be taken to the National Assembly, and members of Parliament would really have to give the green light for this. Now this, remember, this National Assembly is resuming on Tuesday, that is the 23rd, so to see how things will be. Now, in case you just missed these particular names, I'll be going through them one by one. Ministry of Interior, that is Professor Kithure Kindiki, he has been retained. Ministry of Lands, Alice Wahome, she has been retained. Now a new name to most Kenyans in the Ministry of Education, Julius Migosi Ogamba. We are still cooking, just really going to give you who Julius is, Migosi Ogamba, his profile, his resume, who he really is, and what kind of, what is in his intro when it comes to the education in this particular country, because it is one of the critical dockets that is in the country. Minister of Environment, Soipan Tuya, has also been retained. Ministry of Water and Sanitation, a new name, this one, Eric Murithi Muga, will also be telling you who Eric Murithi Muga is and what entails in his docket so far, where the former CS for water left off, what Eric Murithi Muga, the appointed Cabinet Secretary of Water and Sanitation, has in store. In the Minister of Roads, Kipchumba Murkomen exits and is going to be replaced now by the former Energy Cabinet Secretary, Davis Churchill. So wait to see how, again, that kind of a reshuffle looks like. Attorney General, as I had mentioned earlier, that is Rebecca Miano right now. She was also in the former cabinet that was the first kind of cabinet in the ASOL's docket. So to see again how this will be in her entry as the Attorney General. She is the lead advice in matters law for the government. So this is a very critical kind of a docket. Ministry of Agriculture, the mythical Inturi, one particular name that so many Kenyans were really apt in saying he should go, the young people saying he should go. He has exited, and Dr. Andrew Muhia has been nominated for that position. We'll also be telling you who Dr. Andrew Muhia is, his portfolio as well. And Ministry of ICT is going to be, rather, the President has nominated Dr. Margaret Nyambura Ndungu. So in case the National Assembly gives a green light for Dr. Margaret Nyambura Ndungu, she is going to be the new person there. These are just 11 names. The President says as of next week, expect the other 11 names. Remember, the Constitution provides that he should have not more than 22 CSs. So this is just another 11 that we're going to be having at an advanced stage. We definitely need to understand what this means. This is what people have been waiting for. On the 18th of June, young people went to the streets. And so far there has been many events, not only in Nairobi, in different parts of the country, just calling for the dismissal of the cabinet, accountability in the cabinet, end of corruption. And just to help us understand this, live on set, we do have Hans Kiprop. He's a political analyst. Karibu sana. Thank you. Hans, karibu sana. We also do expect to have Joe Mutambo. He's a former member of parliament for Mwingi Central on Skype. We'll also be trying to get Pamela Thiambo, former woman rep of Migori County, on phone call later on. But then, first off, Hans, I know you're here in the morning. You definitely, you've also been taking a look at these events very closely. We've had these conversations with you. First of all, this is something that many Kenyans are waiting for. The kind of names that you're seeing here, the kind of reshuffle and everything. What is your immediate reaction when you had the president read all these names?
First, I want to maybe say thank you to the president for maybe giving the first patch. This is at least to cool the country, to reduce a lot of agitation and so on. There are a few things to be observed here. And one is you realize that president has tried to retain some of the cabinet secretary to specific dockets. And you are realizing that there are certain specific dockets that look sensitive to the government. And I'm trying to observe and think that these are more sensitive to the president, like the Minister of Environment. So Ipan 2 years come back. And we see the issues about the president has been pushing issues about the climate change. So you realize that this is an idea that has been in his heart. So he's trying to maintain his confidence that he's been having to make sure that he targets or he achieves his intentions to the country. So
your thoughts are he went for the most critical dockets that are there.
Yeah.
But then, I mean, finance...
Because you're realizing also, finance we don't have yet.
Yes, and that's where I was going. I mean,
I'm saying so far, okay. Of the 11 of the 11 names that we have. Because if you realize, Minister of Roads is one of the critical ministries again, and you realize that President Ruto has changed former CS Kipchumba Murkomen. So we've observed that David Sitira has been a close confidant of President for quite a long time.
So this is matter confident.
Yeah, you realize that President is trying to place people who have worked with him a long time, who understand his intentions of the country, his manifesto, and so on, to the key position. You realize also the Minister of Lands, which is also a very sensitive ministry, Alice has remained. And I still feel this a very sensitive docket whereby President wants to place the people he trusts. And you also see Interior Kindiki is there to remain, Duale in defense. And most of these cabinet secretaries have been retained. Kenyans haven't said much about them. They have delivered. Even if you check the polls that have been going around, the Kenyans have been having some confidence with him. To my observation is that the president could have had what people have been complaining about.
And sorry to cut short, because a number of Kenyans right there, because I know this is a conversation that is happening right now on social media, on X. People are looking at these names. They're really trying to analyze each one of them. The 11 here, apart from even the new ones, people are trying to see who these portfolios are. I'm also trying to see who these particular names are, because we haven't really had them on the limelight. But then let's take a look at, first of all, the names that have been there, and names that even the Gen Z have said, these particular names have to go. First of all, Minister of Interior, Professor Kithure Kindiki, being also as well of Defense, Aiden Duale. Looking at the past month, Gen Z saying the kind of security, intelligence, and how the security personnel have performed, these two names have to go. Does it mean that the president did not listen to Kenyans with this?
If you follow the speech of the president since this demonstration began, and if we give a fair judgment, despite the changes we've been having with the security agencies, they have really tried their best even to manage the kind of demonstrations that have been there. And therefore, I think President retaining Kindiki and Duale, he must appreciate the kind of work they have done. If you really observe, despite the fact what could be going on Hex, there's been a lot of restraint, despite the fact some loss of lives which we recreate, which is so unfortunate. There have been a way that the Ministry of Defense and Interior have really tried to manage these protests.
All right. Hence, I want us to critically analyze each of these dockets, so that even the viewer can really get to understand. And I think we can start with the Interior, for example, because at the end of the day, Interior as well as Defense, at one point they will work in tandem, because when it comes to security matters, For Interior, for example, we have seen a number of gaffes. For example, this week, I think it was yesterday or the day before, when veteran journalist Masharegedo was abducted, and later on we get to hear that it was a case of mistaken identity. This just goes to show even the kind of number of gaffes that have been there. Journalists being shot, young people who were demonstrating being shot, the kind of how the security personnel have been performing. If National Assembly, the members approve him, first of all, and we'll get to even talk about if they will approve him, what kind of, what is in his entry as the new now, because okay, he's coming back, then he'll basically be now Cabinet Secretary of Interior. What is in his entry? Do you think he'll come to rectify some of these gaps that have been there?
When we want to discuss the Minister of Interior, there's much things to be checked in. Mm-hmm. You check from the security of the country. It's not all about demonstration. You have to check about the kind of, we've been having issues of Al-Shabaab in the past. It's cooled down. Mm-hmm. We've been having issues of borders. It's cooled down. We've been having insecurities in valleys like Pokot and other regions of the country. So we cannot only maybe comment in a wrong way about Minister of Interior just because of the demonstration. There are many things that we need to consider, that you need to observe all under the Minister of Interior. And therefore, on issues of demonstration, you realize that the president had gone ahead and made some changes in Kenya Police. We have the former IG has resigned, and now we have another in acting capacity.
The acting capacity, Douglas Kanja.
Yeah, and also the deputy IG in acting capacity, Eliud Lagat. Therefore, I know these are on acting capacities. And I know that Kindiki is coming back. We'll be able to streamline and make the kind of changes that are needed in Kenya Police. And therefore, that's why we are even here to tell the government and also to encourage Kindiki, if he's going to be approved back, is to make sure that the police who have used high force to face the law. You have institutions like IPOA. They need to hasten the investigations and get to bring this kind of officers on table so that at least we don't generalize the whole police.
Hans, from what you've seen, the young people have been able to convince, really, going out to the streets and getting into even Parliament and convince the National Assembly and even now, really, even the President to drop the finance bill. These names are going to go to, plus now the ones that he's going to even mention next week, are going to go to the National Assembly for approval. When you take a look at some of these names, for example, Kindiki's name, do you think the members of the National Assembly, in both factions really, Kenya Kwanza as well as Azimio, are going to approve his name? What kind of a feeling and mood are you expecting when it comes to the debate of some of these controversial, so to speak, names?
From the polling that is even going on in social media and wherever, Kindiki leads us one of the most performing, yes. I really wish the parliament can pass a name like the one for Kindiki. Reason? There is much, Kenyans seem to have some confidence in him. And despite the kind of shootings and abduction that has gone on, which is under Kenya Police and whereby we've seen some changes in. So we are saying, to my observation, is Kindiki deserves a chance. He deserves to take this country ahead in terms of security. He has shown some, Kenyans have shown some confidence. Even if we check the InfoTrack and others, you'll realize that Kindiki is leading in all the CSS. So my thinking, and I will say, is let us wait for how the parliaments are going to analyze, let us wait. But to my observation as Hans, is that Kindiki deserves a chance to go back to the cabinet.
Right. So wait to see how that kind of a mood will be during that debate in the National Assembly. But then there's definitely
there is more. That's what I've told you. There is more to consider. It's just it's beyond the demonstration. You know, like of course the demonstration is a talk in the street today. But when we are considering a ministry and maybe a cabinet secretary in charge of that ministry, we need to observe in length on what is expected from him.
And
and we don't have a perfect human being, me, neither you. And we have to give a percentage. If somebody has done above average, then he should be given another chance to perfect on the remaining part of it. Yeah.
Finally, on Kindiki, even as you go to, even to the others, right now, people are still asking that these rogue police officers who shot demonstrators, who are actually captured, the name should be there, there should be accountability. The president said in a joint media interview there's going to be accountability for this. Should this be one of the first things that Cabinet Secretary Kindiki, when approved, he is going to, rather should do?
Yeah, it should be one of his first assignment is to streamline Kenya Police. He should change the commanders. He should make sure that the such things do not happen again. And officers who could have messed and done things in a wrong way, use live bullets. We've seen even what happened in Nakuru on Wanjeri, being shot by a police officer. My thinking is that, and I want to, from the mood that is in the country, I'm sure when these cabinet secretaries come back today, they wouldn't be maybe take things lightly as they used. They'll be cracking whips, and they'll be now serious, knowing that the country are now enlightened, the youths are more enlightened than they used to be. And I want to believe that they also, as President names his cabinet, and having a meeting with this cabinet secretary, he must be giving them proper orders that I don't want to get back to the situation I've been before. We shouldn't get the country to where it is today. And therefore, this is what I want you to deliver. I don't know if this can work, but my thinking is the president should place cabinet secretaries also on targets and contracts. That we need you guys to give us what you've achieved on quarterly basis, maybe 3-4 times a year. What is it that we've achieved? What is it that you've that we can celebrate you about? Have you achieved the targets of the government? So that if a cabinet secretary could not achieve or manage to be where the intentions of the country is, you don't have, the cabinet secretary doesn't have to, we don't have to be in such a situation again to be maybe a reshuffle or whatever, dissolving of the cabinet.
Right.
A cabinet should just either resign or be fired by the president.
Okay. Right. Hans, hold that thought. Let's cross over to Nakuru. Nakuru-based reporter Chichi Josephine is. Chichi Josephine, a very good evening to you. Quite a lot has been happening this particular evening. Moments ago, President Ruto naming his 11 names in the cabinet. What are residents there saying? What is the sentiments there?
Well, Stanley, a very good evening to you. And yes, President William Ruto's address comes a week after he rolled out very massive changes in his administrations. And we also have seen that President William Ruto have today, of course, named 11 CSs in his administration. And remember, this is the very first batch after he rolled out the massive changes in his administration. Allow me talk to residents in this particular county to tell me how they feel about these whole changes. But of course, we have seen some cabinet secretaries being retained in their ministries, and we also have seen some of them have been, or rather new CSs have been rolled in. So allow me to talk to residents here to tell me what they think about these whole changes that have happened today, and probably what they think about the cabinet secretaries who have been retained so far. Bwana Odlena Seko, you are one person who follows politics so well, and today we have seen President William Ruto, of course, naming the first batch of his cabinet secretary or other cabinet. Tell me what you feel about the whole changes.
Jambo hili ambalo tumesikia siku ya leo ni huzuni kabisa kabisa. Mimi kama mkereketwa na mpiganiaji wa haki na mambo ya accountability na mtu mmoja ambaye alikuwa na unga mkono yale maandamano ya Gen Z. Hakika rais wetu William Samoei Ruto ametuangusha kabisa. Nikiangalia orodha yake ambayo ni watu 11, ijapokuwa kuna wamama 5 na wanaume wengine 5. Hii inaweza fananisha kwamba ni amebadilisha misitu, lakini nyani ni wale. Na pia nikiangalia hii list ya Dr. William Samoei Ruto, nimeona kwamba ameweka personal interest over the national interest. Hapa wanya ambao wamerudishwa ni marafiki zake. Watu kama Kindiki Kithure ni rafiki yake, amewekwa kwa interior. Na huyu pia tunaona kuna damu mingi sana kwa mikono yake. Ukiangalia mtu kama Alice Wahome alishindwa kazi katika wizara ya maji, akapelekwa ya ardhi na akashindwa. Tukiangalia kama Aden Duale, hii Aden Duale kwanza si hangestahili kuwa mahali hapa, kwa sababu huyu ni mtu ambaye amejaa kiburi, na vijana walisema wataki viongozi walio na kiburi. Ukiangalia Soipan Tuya, kila mtu anajua ni kwa nini alirudishwa. Tukiangalia Davis Chirichiri, hawa ni wale tu, hawa ni wale tu nyani wale. Na Rebecca Miano pia alikuwa mahali pale. Ningependa kumwambia Dr. William Ruto, tafadhali sikia sauti ya Wakenya. Wakati wewe ulichaguliwa ndio uwe rais, ulifanya kampeni ambayo haikuwa mchezo. Na wakati ulichaguliwa ni kwa sababu ulikuwa umesikia sauti ya Wakenya. Lakini ulipochaguliwa ukawa rais wa Kenya, badala kusikia sauti ya Wakenya, unasikia sauti ya viongozi marafiki zako. Hii list ambayo umeweka siku ya leo, naona kana kwamba yale maandamano ya Jumanne na Alhamisi yataendelea. Kwa sababu yale mabadiliko vijana walikuwa nataka na Wakenya, hii ni against the war against corruption. Ukiwa unarudisha wale, unaweka misitu tofauti lakini nyani ni wale. Inamaanisha kwamba wewe ni kama hujali. Na pia hiyo list ya watu 11, tunaona ni kwamba Raila, mimi najua unategea sana hii position. Raila, tafadhali chunga sana usije ukajiingiza kwa matope. Kwa sababu wewe unatafuta tu njia ya kuingia kwa hii, na ujue kwamba ni damu ya vijana ilimwagika, watu zaidi ya 50 waliuliwa, watu wakaharibiwa biashara zao ili hii mabadiliko yapatikane. Kwa hivyo Raila, tafadhali tusije tukajiingiza kwa matope wakati ambapo vijana walipoteza maisha yao.
What were your expectations maybe in briefly?
Nilikuwa nataka kwamba kitu ya kwanza tufanye kitu ambayo inaitwa National Convention. Mazungumzo tuweze kujua shida iko wapi. Mazungumzo ambayo vijana watahusishwa na ambapo paka Gen Z wakubali kwamba waseme kwamba tukitoa mtu ni mtu clean. Sisi hatuna upungufu wa viongozi. Tuna watu wengi wamesoma hata hapa Nakuru. Hata Nakuru ninaona kwamba kuna mmoja wetu alikuwa ameappointiwa na sisi hatukuzunika kwa sababu hata naye pia hata alikaa pale kama mtu wa NIS. Hakuna mtu alikuwa anamjua. Kwa hivyo tunasema kwamba Rais William Ruto ungekojea mazungumzo yawe ili zile shida zinazotokea katika nchi ya Kenya na viongozi wale tunataka, the leader we want. Ingekuwa kwamba these are the leader we want. Waweze kujeletwa mbele ya Wakenya, wafanyiwe vetting hata kama ni kwa express ili tuweze kuwa na vile. Lakini hii hatutaki misitu inabadilishwa lakini nyani ni wale.
Naam, shukran. Benson, come closer. Tell me, what do you think about the whole process? Remember, President William Ruto has just said those are the few chosen, but we still have more that will be coming in. What do you think?
Let me say that we are a bit disappointed because we expected that he could not rush, because just the other day he nominated Musalia to be the acting cabinet secretary. So we are not in a crisis as a country. We are not in any danger as a country, but we wanted so that we have a national conversation. We have a way forward as a common people, and especially we know the things that were affecting Kenyans have not been addressed. Even one of them being the cost of living. We are just talking about ministers, cabinet secretaries. Raila Odinga was not the problem of our country. He was not the problem. That is why he's being brought to the government so that we can have peace. But what we would want to tell the president is that you have done a mistake by re-electing the same people. It is not about political patronage or just trying to make sure that you are rewarding your friends in the entirety. But we want also to tell the leaders, you can still cleanse yourself and reject that list when it comes to parliament, so that we can still wait for that time when as a country we are going to decide this is the right way, so that everybody can work with the government.
What were your expectations maybe?
My expectation was that the president was to remain calm. Look at the real issues. You see, like fuel, the cost of living of Kenyans. There is no job. We have not talked about the children who have died or whatever. We are only rushing to constitute a government. That was not the issue. We take necessary steps toward addressing the issues that Kenyans are raising all over the country. It is not about leaders. Even if we bring one community and they perform to Kenya, we have no problem. But what he has done today, we are very disappointed, and that is not the way we could have expected.
The new cabinet secretaries who have been appointed today, what do you think about them, the ones who were not in the cabinet before?
The new ones we have seen, like one of them, we have seen some of them have issues. You see, like the Ogamba was still in education, was the deputy governor was running for deputy governor in Kisii, and again this one Barasa Mlongo, who has been appointed, she also has integrity issues because she was removed from practicing list of practicing doctors. So we are not happy. These people, the president has not done background check for these people. Let them be done better background so that we don't again recycle the same people with the same problem.
So you feel they will be incompetent?
we feel they will be incompetent, because at the end of the day, the same we are repeating. We have the same problem, so we expected the president to come forward and elect people who have no integrity issues.
Thank you so much. Niruhusu niweze kuzungumza na mmoja tu alafu kisha nitamatishe. Nieleze wewe unahisi vipi kuhusiana na kile ambacho Rais William Ruto amefanya hili?
Nadhani there is no change ambayo imefanyika, kwa sababu it's just recycling the same drama ambayo tumekuwa tukiwitness, nothing more.
Na wale ambao wameletwa wapya?
Let's wait and see. But you know, time venye inaenda na maisha inakuwa ngumu, sioni kama kuna mambo ya kugojea. So the best thing ni overhaul the whole thing, aita, kwa sababu kuna watu wengi sana ambao wanaweza fanya hiyo kazi. So kurecycle watu now time and again, I don't think it makes any sense. Yeah.
Thank you so much. Therefore, Stan, remember those are sentiments, of course, of locals in this particular county telling more on what they feel in regards to the first appointment, the first batch of CSs appointed by President William Ruto. And of course, they say they are so disappointed because they really didn't think that President William Ruto would re-elect or rather reappoint some cabinet secretaries who have been reappointed, one of them being Kindiki, that is Kithure Kindiki in the Ministry of Interior, and also we have seen him re-elect or rather reappoint Aden Duale in the Ministry of Defense, among others. But of course, those are the few that I've spoken to. I will be able to talk to many more, and probably I'll be able to prepare more news for our viewers. Allow me to talk to, of course, different Kenyans in regards to this as you also continue with the conversation in studio. Over to you, Stan. My name is Chichi Josephine.
All right, thank you. Thank you very much, Chichi Johnson, boots on ground in Nakuru. We have about a minute to wrap it up on our 4 p.m. news now. I do have Hans here with me, political analyst. Hans, in your final remarks, you're listening to what people are saying. In your final remarks, what do you think moving forward?
My thinking is the smile that is expected from the president, because what we are noticing from this list is that there is lack of regional balance. Mm-hmm. We've seen like out of these 11 names, 6 are from Mount Kenya, and maybe others 1. So we wish in the next cabinet the remaining names that we see some regional balance too. We want to see the youth perspective. Youth agencies have been on the street. We want to see one person being given maybe one youth in the cabinet, maybe under the Ministry of Youth and Sports or any other. And lastly is that we also want President to take time and just as even some of the comments from one of the people there is that let the president take time. Then he gives us actually what deserves us as Kenyans. Yeah.
All right.
And he will be the one to benefit the most.
All right. Yeah. Well, there you have it. The 11 names the president has given so far. Minister of Health, Dr. Deborah Mulongo Baraza. Minister of Lands, Liso Home. Minister of Education, Julius Migosi Ogamba. Minister of Defense, he's remained Aden Duale. Minister of Agriculture, Dr. Andrew Muhia Karanja. Minister of Environment, she has remained Soipan Tuya. Minister of Water, Sanitation and Irrigation, a new name, Eric Muriithi Muga. Minister of Roads, a name that you've definitely had, Davis Chirchir. Minister of ICT, Dr. Margaret Nyambura Ndungu. That's a new name there. Attorney General Rebecca Miano. For these new names and all this analysis, stick around in our subsequent bulletins. 7 p.m., 9 p.m. we'll be analyzing this. We'll be giving you the portfolios of these new names. We'll also be taking a look at the in-tray of what they expect and also what the in-tray of the National Assembly. I'm yours truly, Stanley Jeringita. Thank you very much for sticking around. More in our subsequent bulletins. Thank you very much, Hans, for coming through and having this conversation with us. Keep it right here at your number one home of Untold Stories. Have yourself a fantastic Friday.